everyone, Melina Juergens here, and welcome to my game review for Hellblade: Senua's Sacrifice. I know it's been a very long time since I've done a game review. Usually for those who are new, I do movie reviews, TV show reviews, trailer reactions, unboxings, giveaways, and live streams. I did do a full walkthrough for Hellblade: Senua's Sacrifice as well, which I will put at the end of the video on the screen. But this is a non-spoiler review. I am not going to spoil anything for you guys. I'm just going to give you my pros, cons, and final score, and tell you whether or not you should download and buy Hellblade: Senua's Sacrifice for only $30 on the PlayStation Network. So thank you for everyone who's joining me, and let's go ahead and get right on to the pros. Then I'll get into the cons and final score again. Also, I'm not going to really talk much about the story, so if you want to know about it and a quick synopsis of it, it will be in the description down below. Anyway, thank you guys again for joining me. Let's go. Also, before I get on to the pros, I do want to mention that Ninja Theory is the developer of this game. You may know them for a few games that they have created, but I know them from DMC Devil May Cry, which they made a few years ago. I absolutely had a blast with that game. I remember going to Blockbuster to pick it up and renting it. Oh, how the times have changed, man. It's been many years since Blockbuster's been gone, but now their new game's finally out. This is probably the most different and unique game that they have ever created in their whole entire catalog that they have. So anyway, now on to the pros. I'll tell you this, Hellblade: Senua's Sacrifice is probably the most original game you're going to play this year, besides Horizon Zero Dawn. We are 8 months into 2017, and I'll tell you right now, Horizon and Hellblade: Senua's Sacrifice are the only two original games that I've seen this year, in a sense, where my mind has been blown. Not only do both games have really good characters, graphics, and environment, and enemies. Mind you, both games are very different. You have robots, and the other one robot dinosaur type, and then you have kind of like demon monsters in this game. But they both kind of share similarity in a way. Yes, female protagonists, they're both from a tribe. This game shares elements from many different games, and it's not copying from those games. I'm saying it has different elements in a sense where you can feel it in there, maybe inspiration or just coincidence, but there are parts that feel like Uncharted, Tomb Raider, Dark Souls, Horizon. I mean, there are multiple different things, and maybe some of Ninja Theory's fighting games that they've done with swordplay, a little Devil May Cry in there. I mean, there is a whole combination that just really you could feel it was an inspiration for this game, and the final product is beautiful. But what I like about this story is that from the very first minute of the game, not only is the environment beautiful, well, it's beautiful for a second until you get into the main territory, and I think people who've played it, you know what I'm talking about within the first few minutes. The environment is disturbing, beautiful, and there's nothing lackluster about it. Everywhere you go, every place you go, it's detailed well. There's different settings that just look different, and I mean different places, and the sea and the sky and the hair lusciously moving, and the way that Senua moves, I mean, it feels real. Her head turning, her eyes, the CGI, it is absolutely beautiful. Again, and this was their whole goal too as well, for $30, and having like a AAA product for $30 from an indie, people who, I think they started with, don't quote me on this, but from their dev videos, like 12 people were only on the team or something when they were doing that. It's absolutely insane for working on this game, and then obviously growing in the ranks or something over time. But it's insane what they did with this world, and making it look like a $60 game for a $30 thing. It's absolutely insane again. Like I was saying, the first minute to the last minute of the game, you want to follow this character, and you want to see where she goes, because she's a very interesting person. She's not exactly like Aloy from Horizon. Aloy's very more different. She is mysterious. You want to unravel and kind of see why she is the way she is, or she has a main goal, and you do find out her main goal very quickly. but you want to know just more in the mind in why it is of declining, and it's absolutely fascinating. Again, from the first minute to the last minute, it is intense because you follow her on this journey. You control her on this journey. You pick her paths that she goes. You go and you do your mission, and you have to walk all the way back. There is no teleporting. There is no go to this place in a sense where you have to walk and you have to run. There is no, oh man, I want to teleport back to this place, or you know what I mean? You literally, you go do a thing and you have to do puzzles and puzzles and puzzles and puzzles and puzzles. We'll get to that in a second. But then you have to walk all the way back. I know usually in games you end up, okay, you did this and then you have to go to this place, so they just cut scene and then she climbs to this place or stuff like that. No, I mean absolutely almost throughout the whole game you are just traveling along this island or this place where you are at. Norse mythology, hell, Hela, Loki, Ragnarok. I mean, I'm thinking about Thor Ragnarok in the moment, and I'm playing this game. I mean, the mythology behind it and the gods. I mean, this is absolutely insane what they're doing, and a lot of people as well say, oh, it's kind of like God of War. Parts of it, I would say, with the mythology in a sense, but it's so fun, and I love games, because not many games come out with the mythology of the gods and stuff, and the 9 realms, Midgard, Asgard, and I find that absolutely fascinating that we see it from her point of view, a human, not a god or anything, trying to save the one she loves. So it's absolutely, again, original story. It's fun to play. I will say there are a few boss battles in this game. There's a lot of enemies you do encounter throughout. Not a lot of enemies as in like there's not 10 different enemies. There's like 4 or 5 different enemies. But their designs, I do enjoy their designs very much. I think they are well designed. They're not like, you know, like, oh, let's just throw this guy in there, throw that guy. They each have their own kind of look to them, which is very awesome. The bosses themselves, the story behind them, there's these little things in there where you go to a corner or something, or you kind of venture off from the path. There's going to be a stone, and if you focus on the stone, it tells you a story about Loki, or about the mountains or giants and giantess, and I mean a bunch of this stuff, man, and Midgard and Asgard stories. I mean, there's a whole side story to it that kind of it tells you and it paints you a picture of this bigger world. Now for 2017, this has to be the best sound design I have heard in a video game so far. The environment, the noises, the whispers and the yells in Senua's head, walking on wood and hearing the creaking, hearing fire in the distance, hearing creepy music, ghosts singing music in the distance. I mean, everything about it, man. This is the best sound effect game I've played again this year. The voiceovers are, I mean, there's a lot of dialogue in this game. There's a lot to read in subtitles, which I do recommend putting your subtitles on. When I started, subtitles weren't on. I had to put them on. Please put your subtitles on, because you want to follow and keep up with this story. You just want to keep running around and then you're trying to hear what they're whispering in the head. It's more easier with subtitles. But everything about it, man, I think every voice actor, I think there was just a few voice actors in the game, all of them, you guys did amazing. It was great. Of course, Senua with the motion capture, again, I was going to say CGI, but the graphics are absolutely insane for the price it is. Her eyes tell a whole completely different story. Her motion, the way she walks, the way she swings her sword, the way she dodges, evades. I mean, it's perfect. Now, this is something that can be a turnoff for Hellblade, but how simple the combat is. Now, I ended up, because I wanted to experience the story first and foremost. So you can pick your difficulty in a sense when you start the game, or before the game, you can pick your combat difficulty. In combat, you could either do easy or normal or hard, something like that. I picked easy because I want to get through the game. I'm not going to stress myself out. I have other stuff to worry about. I don't have time to, you know. Oh, also, if you die in this game multiple times, there's something rotting on your hand, and if it reaches your head, if you die like a lot of times, you have to restart the whole game over again. So that is something I did not want to risk and waste my time with. So I put it on easy. So it is simple combat on the easy part in a sense. I'm pretty sure normal would have been easy in a sense too, or auto that it had it in. So it very much is, it's not like Dark Souls. Like, it has elements in the source of Dark Souls with the bosses and stuff, but yeah, it's a very, unless you go on hard, it's mostly a simple, easy block. You don't even have to block most of the time unless you want to use your focus. You could either evade, hit, heavy attack, they're down. You know what I mean? It's a very simple combat. There's not much to the combat. There's a lot to the world, there's a lot to the story, but there's not a lot with the combat. Also, the boss fights are fairly easy. I mean, you don't even have to get hit by them. All you have to do is just evade, hit, evade, hit, evade, hit, and then they're dead. At least on easy combat, obviously. I mean, they're like 3 minutes or 2 minutes long of a boss fight on easy. But at least I feel like I accomplished something. I'm like, oh yeah, I did it. Look, I did it. I could go on a Dark Souls. I probably could never go on a Dark. I would horribly throw and break my controller. So for those who want a real challenge, for those who want to, you know, sink your teeth in and really, and you want this game, and I recommend this game a lot, probably put your settings on hard. Last but not least, for the pros, I will say it's kind of a pro and a con, and it will lead into the cons. The puzzles. Puzzles. There are a few puzzles in here that I couldn't understand, and when I actually solved them, I was literally like, oh yeah, I'm smart. I can't, like, the first Uncharted game, I suck at those puzzles. I had to go to YouTube to search those puzzles back in the day, a few years ago. With this, I actually took my time, I looked around. Some are very easy, some are right in front of you. But there were a very few puzzles in this game that are like super really, I mean, you're walking around for 20 minutes trying to look and see where it's at, and then it was right in front of you all along, and you're like, what the hell? Oh man. It just makes you go crazy, just like how this world and character, you're just simply going crazy. But with the puzzles, yeah, there are some puzzles in here that are absolutely really just like, hell yeah, I got it. Like, it's fun. And then there are the puzzles every second of the game. Oh, you have to go fight the god of fire or the devil Surtur? You have to go fight him? Okay. Puzzle, fight, fight, boss fight, walk all the way back, fight, go fight this boss, okay, puzzle, fight, boss fight, walk all the way back, okay, here's another 3 hours of puzzles, here's a fight, puzzle, fight, and then it's like, stop with the puzzles. She could literally like just walk. Why does she have to go around the mountain? Can she not just slip through that crack? Literally, there's wood. Just break the wood with your sword and walk through there. I don't understand the whatever it's called, the physics of it. All I'm saying is, Ninja Theory, if any of the developers at all is watching this, probably not, but if you are, if you're going to make a sequel one day, hopefully you will make a sequel to this, all I'll say is, maybe the puzzle, now don't get me wrong, people will say the puzzles is what made the first game. Can you not do maybe minimal puzzles in the second game? You did something different, now do Hellblade 2, but different. You know what I mean? You don't have to do puzzles in the second game. You could do a new thing. You don't need to copy and paste from the first one. You could go and do a new story, new stuff. You don't have to do puzzle, fight, puzzle. You could do something different. Please stray away from the puzzles in the sequel. Not going to get much into detail here, but I will say the ending is a little confusing. Especially for me, it's kind of a disappointment in a sense after doing 6, 7, or 8 hours, and then you get to the ending. It does have a disappointing taste to it. All I'll say is, I mean, many people I'm very interested in where the story goes and where it heads off to in a sense. But at the same time, it's like I just did 7 hours of this, and this is the ending I get. It's one of those. Another thing, very minor, some of the times the subtitles go off. You could literally be reading something and then the subtitle cuts off, but they're still talking the line that they were doing. For me, that gets very annoying when I'm trying to follow the story and all that, and then it just cuts off. And that happens multiple times where it cuts off and then it does the next subtitle, but they haven't even reached that subtitle yet. Just like I mentioned earlier, I like that the boss battles are easy. But in a sense, like I said, many people, the boss battles are not, some people will get this game and then they'll be kind of sad that the boss battles were very easy. Again, I recommend you guys to put it on hard for a full-fledged kind of more difficult experience challenge, so you can challenge yourself. And if somebody came up to me and said, Hellblade is repetitive, I can see that. It can be repetitive, it can, but honestly, this is like the first time in a while where I play a game and I didn't find it fully repetitive because the puzzles keep you going. Not what I want to see in a sequel, but I'm saying in this game, the puzzles do kind of like, you get tired after a while of the puzzles, but really the first few hours you're like this and that and you're going and you're looking around and you're exploring the environment. Run into a few bad guys along the way. I mean, you have your combat, you're using your mind. You're admiring this world and fearing the world at the same time. I mean, it is a horror story. The environment is just a horror story in its roots. And then seeing our character and again the story behind her eyes and the look of fear and the look of anger and the look of insanity on her, you feel it. You feel the power within your character, and you feel every single second of it. And I'm not saying that just to say it. I mean, this is one of my favorite games this year. Not my favorite game, but one of my favorite games out of 2017. So before I give you guys my final score for Hellblade: Senua's Sacrifice, let me kind of give you my recap of the pros and cons. Hellblade: Senua's Sacrifice, it's an absolutely amazing with the original concept, the story, the characters you meet along the way, which is not many, but all I'll say, and our main character, Senua, her design, the voice actress who played her, the voice actors, everywhere that you meet, the enemy designs, the world is a story. You have a story you need to unfold. There are stories, side stories that you can unfold in a sense that makes the world a bigger world. You are doing impossible tasks that only can be done in video games. And some of the people that you fight, I mean, it's absolutely scary. And again, for only $29.99 for it, and not the scariest game in the world, because after the first 2 hours, you kind of get used to it, and then you're hacking and slashing after that, really. And it becomes kind of a superpower in a sense where you're just you're swinging the sword around, and you feel like a badass. So it feels good to control Senua and fighting along these undead, and it's so fun. Again, it's ranked up there with Horizon. And for it, again, being $29.99, it's not a bad bargain at all, man. It is definitely worth getting, I'll say right now. Yes, it does get repetitive with the puzzles. It's like 5 hours of puzzles. And then the boss fights are not the hardest, which could be a challenge, or which could be pissy to some people. So there's those things, but it really doesn't ruin the experience that this is something new, something that you should experience. And I really think a lot of gamers should experience this game and support Ninja Theory for the craftsmanship that they made. It feels like a AAA game for $30, and it's only 5 or 6 or 7 hours. It's very, very. It's not going to take your whole time. Something you could just go on and experience this journey, and again, just experience it for yourself. It's one of those where it's just. Sometimes you're on the edge of your seat. Sometimes your hands get sweaty. Sometimes you're just walking around and you're a little bit bored. There are times you will get bored a little bit in this game, but and the ending may be a little bit disappointing, but for me it was. It could be different for you. Either way, I recommend you guys getting this game. People who want to try something different, if you look at the trailer and you're fairly little interested in the game, please check it out. Again, it's $30. It is fun. It is fun, it's interesting, and it's different, and it's original. And people always hammer, we want original, stop rehashing, stop copy and paste. This is not a copy and paste. It is not. Every place you go in this game, there is hard work put into it. And it is something that the Order 1886 should have been, that it wasn't. Which are two different companies, but anyway. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, I'm going to give Hellblade: Senua's Sacrifice an 8 out of a 10, which will equal up to a B+. Thank you guys so much for watching. Hopefully you enjoyed. If you did, make sure to like, comment, share, and hit that subscribe button. I'll be seeing you guys later. Till next time, bye-bye.